Greetings. It's a joy to be with you for today's midweek update. And as we look forward into the many things that are on our plate at this time, I'd like to begin with our focus on the lives of the saints. So today we celebrate the feast of Saint Mary Magdalene, and we know her to be a very central biblical figure within our faith history. Uh, Several of the items that kind of bring her out from the scriptures and into our own life is that famous comparison of Martha and Mary in the presence of Jesus. Mary was drawn to the feet of our Lord to listen to his words and to enjoy that presence of Christ, not letting the concerns of the moment overtake her, but to keep her focused on our Lord. So, our saint for today has a very deep connection to Christ himself and the reception of his word. Mary Magdalene also enjoyed the miraculous opportunity of witnessing Jesus raising her brother Lazarus to new life. And Martha and Mary and Lazarus are a very close family friend of Jesus's, and to have this kind of firsthand opportunity of the friendship of Christ and also the rising from the dead is a beautiful gift and one which shaped her journey of faith. Another element of Mary Magdalene's life was one of primary witness of the resurrection. So Mary Magdalene, we know, was going to the tomb of Christ after he had died, after he had been laid to rest. And if you think of the Christian soul who is so connected to our Lord that there's this need to be like in his presence all the time. And because he was laid to rest after his crucifixion, Mary had nowhere to go, so she went to the place of burial. She went to the place where his remains were to be as close as possible to Jesus. Well, when she arrived that Sunday morning, she noticed that the stone had been rolled away, and her heart was wrenched because she thought he had been moved or his body had been stolen, and she was seeking to be kind of a caretaker for the remains of Jesus. Well, the person that Mary was talking to, who she thought was just the gardener, kind of taking care of the area in that time, actually was Jesus himself. And this beautiful moment between Jesus and Mary, where Jesus sends her to go tell the apostles of the good news of the resurrection. So, this responsibility of being the first one to carry the good news of the resurrection to the apostles is one that gives Mary a very unique title. She is the apostle to the apostles, sent by Christ with the good news to the 12 who would carry this good news into and around the world. Um, so when we look at Mary Magdalene, what we want to do, like any saint, is get to know them as people, to see the humanity and the reality of their life of faith so that we can have a connection with them. The effort that we do in this by having personal connections with the lives of the saints sits centrally to our Catholic spirituality and is one that permits us to have additional connections into the life of heaven. This is so very important for us because in a world that has a lot of noise within it, we as sons and daughters of Christ need to have a clear-sighted awareness of those places where in which heaven nourishes us so that we may be guided in wisdom. Our feathers get ruffled far too easily when we place our hope in earthly things. We need these heavenly connections to continually bolster our own heavenly identity, because the world is not a peaceful and perfect place. It's not our true and only home. We're being called home to heaven. And this beautiful opportunity to see a saint who has witnessed to so many core moments of Jesus's ministry helps our eyes to open up to that. And so we not only pray for the intercession of Saint Mary Magdalene at this time, but in the coming days we have the Saint Bridget of Sweden, Saint Charbel, the Apostle James, Saint Martha, the sister of Mary, Saint Peter Chrysologus, Saint Ignatius of Loyola, Saint Alphonsus Liguori, Saint John Vianney. So many. Saint Dominic is coming up in these next few weeks. We have tons of very heavy-hitting saints, and so it does us well to continually pay attention to the journey of prayer with the saints in the life of the church, because that assists us within our heavenly connection point. So a little word on the saints there for us, and a little encouragement for you as well. My next item of business is our check-in system at our masses. We did a test run a couple weeks ago. This last weekend, we tried a new system at all of the masses to kind of check people in a little bit more smoothly. It's our two-person check-in system. And so one of our volunteers will meet you at the door, and they'll have a clipboard. And what is on that first greeter's clipboard is a list of everyone who has signed up for that Mass. And one of the things that we were struggling with a little bit was people signing up within 15 to 20 minutes before Mass. And you as a guest coming in, as a parishioner coming in, expecting to be on the list, we say you're not on the list, yada, yada, yada. Those moments of confusion are never a good way to start out Mass. So what we wanted to do was to set a little bit of a time limit on the sign up. We know family schedules can be a little crazy, and sometimes we don't know till the last minute which Mass we're going to. So just to be helpful to our volunteers and to take the pressure off of you as well, we're kind of closing the sign up at 3 p.m. on Saturday, so that our volunteers have a more consistent list that they can work from. And then our two-person check-in system permits those who are able to sign up to be checked in and quickly move to the church, while those who are not on that particular list can go to the second greeter and be kind of notated that way. One of the things that we've done to speed up our second greeter position is we have printed off a master reopening attendee list. This is every person who is registered for Mass from the 27th of May until this weekend. We have your name and your contact information and the members of your family, so that when you come in and you had not signed up, we can just quickly reference that sheet, have your information already present and printed, and we can check off which Mass you're attending. All of this tracking is very important for the sake of communication if any illnesses arise, so that we can just be accurate in who we reach out to, but also so you can be the most informed about the health status within our parish. Thankfully, we've been unscathed, at this point. So that's some of our check-in information. Hopefully, there's just so many things that are changing. We're just trying to perfect things, so it's a smoother experience for you coming in, while respecting our volunteers, but also being mindful of your kind of initial experience as you come into the church and prepare for Mass. And so, again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our reopen email will kind of field any of those concerns. One final thing about the sign up and the closing point at 3 p.m. on Saturday. If you do log in and it's after 3 p.m. on Saturday, the Sign Up Genius just for this weekend will indicate that the Mass is full. Well, let's just kind of say a few more words on that. Right now, our church has the diocesan permission to receive over 280 people. Currently, we've set the limit at 150 people, just so that we're not overwhelmed. But the masses that we've seen so far range, or kind of on average, are kind of maxing out between the 80 and kind of 120, 130 range. So we haven't even been getting close to 150 lately. Know that our greeters are keeping track of how many people are registering per mass. So if we get close to that number, we'll let you know, just for your own awareness and well-being. But if you see the Sign Up Genius after 3 p.m. on Saturday and it says full, maybe you could reach out, just pop into Mass, and we'll be as informative as possible to help you there. So that should be good. Very good. What's next? A little shout out to our reopening teams. And so we have 2 different stages of reopening within our parish life. The first one was our initial Back in His Presence reopening team, who did the phenomenal hard work of getting things in place so that we can come back to Mass. The second reopening team is a team that's right now in the thick of their work and responsibility, and this is our Catholic school reopening team. So our new Catholic school principal, Mr. Nick Satterley, has been convening with a handful of teachers and myself over these past few weeks to chart the landscape of the academic world in which we live, to consider the guidelines that have been put out by the state and by our Catholic Education Office, and now to address some of the interests and concerns, not only of our families for the sake of our students, but also for our teachers as well. So we're looking to strike a balance point between many elements at one time. And what I wanted to say now, because they're in the middle of their work, their final kind of document is not complete yet on how things are exactly going to look as the school year opens. But I just wanted to indicate that they are kind of working hard, looking at different teaching and technology and scheduling and teacher resourcing models, things that include our spacing and our transportation and our and all the elements that we've been talking about. So one of the things that I drew from our meeting today was just the honest consideration of the, let's say, the full perspective of what our parents are bringing to the table and how we're looking to meet the needs of our family while not being negligent of the goods and needs of our teachers and what life looks like in the school itself. So what I would encourage now is for you to continue to keep praying. In the United States, nobody knows all the details of our current situation. We're moving forward as safely and as mindfully as possible. I want to thank all the family members, all the parents who responded to the online survey that was submitted to you. We're able to talk about a lot of those details and read those comments today as a reopening team. But just a good opportunity for me to share with you that we're moving forward and we're being as fully considerate as we can to meet several balance points at one time, and not to be blind to anything. And so if you have a concern, we 100% will be listening to that, especially as it pertains to the education of our children, their safety, and the considerations and concerns of our families. So, but right now, I want to thank our reopening teams for all their hard work. I want to encourage you to continue to pray for them in their wisdom and clarity, and for a spirit of unity and trust within our parish family, within our school family, within all that we're undertaking. There's so many ways that we want to be back to 100% normal, but we know that we're not at that place yet within life. And so we'll continue to be patient and safe and thorough as we continue to unfold. My final thing for today is to make an announcement. It's always sad to see people go. And one of our deacons who has been working with us for several years, Deacon Ken and his wife Diana, or Dee as you may know her, will be moving out of state on account of just life circumstances, right? Business and family and things in life. So we're extremely grateful for all the ways that Deacon Ken and Dee have been involved within the life of the parish, the joy that they have brought within their various influences within retreats and ministries and pads and liturgy and so on and so forth. They'll be truly missed. And so wanted to kind of share with you that they would be leaving, and to encourage you to pray for them and their safe travel as they make the move out of state and begin a new chapter. Because this is a time when we cannot gather for big celebrations, for anniversaries and farewells and things of this nature. It's a bit of a bummer because the Wascos are super social people and would love to have a big send off, and I would love to do that for them, but that's simply not safe or permitted at this time. So what we would like to do is to identify that this Sunday Mass at 11 a.m. will be a Mass that Deacon Ken will be assisting at. And so we'd invite you to come out. Obviously, we're going to follow our numbers. Like I said, we've always been around, we've always had like a 45-person buffer or so for that. But Deacon Ken will be at that Mass. This will be his last weekend that he and his wife will be with us. And if you'd like to send any correspondence of farewell for their family, that's something you can either drop off in the church this weekend, or you can drop it off at our parish office, and we'll be sure to make that connection for them. So we're so very grateful for their work, and we know that our love goes with them as well. So I hope everyone is doing well. Know of my continued prayers for you, for your family, for your intentions. This is a very important time for prayer. There's a lot of unrest at this time. I pray that the noise that's present within the world at this moment is not so captivating you that it's keeping you from heavenly things. So your daily prayer is very important. Your priority in faith is very important. And our connection to the life of God is what drives all of our other earthly interests, right? Everything for the sake of heaven, and that which we do on earth is but a facilitation of bringing ourselves, those whom we love, and all whom we meet more perfectly to the eternal reward of everlasting life. So be well, be prayerful, be at peace. We're praying for you, and have a wonderful day. God bless.